Let's get rid of the overlay.
Oh, there I am.
Yes, indeed.
Where are you?
Now, I'm there somewhere. Hold on a minute. No, that's me entirely. Oh dear. So easy when you do things and then you forget.
It's been a long time since we practiced yesterday.
Yes, I know. Still, never mind. I'm sure nobody would have joined us just yet. Oh, we have got a viewer. Let's see. I pressed one of these yesterday. Oh, possibly, yes. Oh, there you are in there.
Aha, look.
There we go. Now then, let's sort this little lot out because that's going to annoy me otherwise. I think we're good. I think we're good, Pete.
Right.
So,
right, that was a good episode.
Say that again.
So that was a good episode then. Right.
Yep.
Sometime next week.
Well, I'm really pleased to see that let me just close lots of other things down. Otherwise it could get a bit confusing. Our last episode recorded beautifully, which is interesting, isn't it, about the previous one when I seem to talk over you all the time.
Indeed. So this week we're using a different platform. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And it's forced us to push the technology boundary a little bit more, to poke it a bit further than it was here too. I'm just getting rid of all my investment windows so that hopefully my browser won't struggle. Cool. All right. So why don't you tell me about your week while I have a little tidy up here?
Okay. Well, I mean, exciting was yesterday testing out different technologies for live streaming this podcast and cutting a few bits of software out of the plan to make it easier. I liked that. That was good fun. I like poking it occasionally. Yeah,
and it hadn't even occurred to me that we'd be able to do that, but you just saw it straight away, which was great.
Well, I'm lazy, so I was like, surely there must be a way to get rid of that bit of software and that one and just do it straight through this. Funnily enough, that's been my kind of week, is finding new things to do in software platforms. So for my conference coming up in end of November, I've invested in a conferencing platform called Remo, which is a good fun. But I attended a great session on Monday about fun things to do in it to engage your attendees. And now I know how to embed games into my conferencing platform. So in between talks, people can go to the games room.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I found a way to put in, hopefully, I've got to test it again just to make sure, but I found a way to put in like an electronic jigsaw puzzle that multiple people can do at the same time, all around a table like a Zoom call, and see it in action. Which is great because last year at the physical conference, we had a jigsaw and there was like 9 people generally around it playing it. People really like jigsaws. Obviously, there's other games I'll be looking at, but that was quite good fun.
Yeah. Now, we need to adjust this a little bit because you're looking down at me. So you need to move whatever you're looking at to talk to me up towards your camera. And
I will try.
And you need to tell me if I need to do the same thing.
You seem fine.
Ideally, we need to be looking straight at the camera. You're still looking down. Oh, that's better.
Okay.
Put a post-it note with an arrow pointing up. That's what I do sometimes. Good. What else have you done this week then?
Well, apart from that, loads of calls with people around kicking off my conference, getting sponsorship for that. The awards business is going really interestingly. We've got some sponsors interested in lots of different categories, which means I need to push ahead with that. And what else? Gosh. Yesterday I did a webinar type panel session on data personalization and using gamification to do that. So how we can personalize everyone's journeys through data, through getting more data to give them a better experience. That was a great session. I hope to be able to share that in the next few days.
Oh, great.
It was like a round table session, but with a lightning talk in the beginning.
Yeah. I saw something on LinkedIn that you've just done as well.
I think it might have been referenced in LinkedIn. I'm doing a workshop for them in a couple of weeks as well.
Oh, okay.
For people interested in, gamification, personalization, and data, big data.
Yeah. It's a bit of a dirty word at the moment, isn't it, with that Netflix documentary?
We talked about most of those documentaries in yesterday's session, actually. It was good fun.
Oh, that'll be interesting then for people who've seen the what's it called? I can't remember what it's called now. Social Dilemma.
Social Dilemma, but also the Big Hack.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. That was about the Cambridge Analytica. Yeah. Well, is that everything this week? All your highlights
about Cambridge Analytica was, unfortunately for my client, I had a client back when that happened called Cambridge Data.
Oh no. They had to rebrand fast.
They just hid.
Oh my God.
They didn't do anything like what Cambridge Analytica did, but it was quite interesting.
God, that must have been awful for them. Yeah. Mistaken identity.
Yeah. So what have you been up to, Nicola?
Well, what have I been up to? It's been a weird week. It started off quite quiet, and then I got some funds in, as you know, and I had to start swiftly moving them about and buying stuff, and that was quite good fun. It's been a bit like shopping but with bigger numbers. So I really enjoyed that, and in fact I've not come to the end of that yet.
I like the way you described that. You made it sound like money laundering. I had some fun, I had to swiftly move it about.
Yeah. Well, no, not, just because I don't want anything sitting in cash in bank accounts right now, as you know, because the crisis is looming ever nearer. And in fact, it came a big step nearer on Monday, didn't it? With everybody being made aware that the banks have been happily and knowingly money laundering for drug cartels and people smugglers and things like that. So that was nice. That was a big deal on Monday. It was a big deal, yeah. And if anyone doesn't know what I'm talking about, just put in banks money laundering on BuzzFeed, and you'll soon find out. 500. What I liked about it was what they started. They got the papers and they farmed them out to 500 journalists, so that even if a few of them were intimidated or incapacitated, shall we say, there would be hundreds more to carry on working on it, which I thought was a really good idea.
That's what they did with their Panama Papers a few years ago as well. They spread it out.
Oh, okay. What were the Panama Papers? I don't know those.
That was you're hiding your funds offshore, tax avoidance type one. That was, oh,
well, of course, Panama, I should have known. But so that started things off really interestingly. And then what happened then? Oh yes, Facebook, the dreaded word, right? Not
what have they done to you now?
Well, what have they done to me now? I've got a 5-day challenge running in a private Facebook group, and each challenge day arrives with a little video from me introducing the challenge for the day, and then links in the description to other videos they should watch. Those are all fine because they're linking out to Vimeo and YouTube and external platforms. But the little video I upload to introduce each day's challenge looked fine when I uploaded it and scheduled it. And it looked fine when it first published. But within minutes of it publishing, it goes black and a big notice appears saying, this video isn't working at the moment.
Oh.
And that's happened every single day for 4 days. And I didn't realise, because it's quite a quiet challenge this week. And of course, people have still got access to the videos to actually do the challenge. It was just my introductory video they weren't seeing. But it's just mystifying me and mortifying me why I'm being picked on like this.
So it's one of the reasons why as a business you should often take control of your hosting.
Absolutely, yes. And I've been the biggest advocate for that all the way through. But the problem is that lots of people are on Facebook. My particular demographic are on Facebook more than anything else. And Facebook groups are just so darn easy to use, with the scheduling and all that stuff. And people are on Facebook, so they're quite happy to click over to a Facebook group because they're on anyway. The point is I'm going to have to find another platform because that is my main marketing channel for experts wanting to set up courses and digital assets and learn how to leverage stuff like this that we're doing today. Yeah. And Facebook have just suddenly decided that they don't like me because I'm doing something and I have no idea what it is. There's no one to talk to. There's no recourse. There's no appeal. They just and sneaky things like this just mean that everything's going along as normal, and then suddenly it's not. And
you don't know unless someone reports it or spots it.
Exactly. So because I was so busy with the other stuff, I hadn't noticed that the videos had gone dark. Because when they first published, I click through. Obviously, I get my own messages. Click through to check that everything's working fine, and it is. And then I go off happily and do my stuff. only to find that my videos have gone black. Anyway, I'm beyond incandescent about it, I can tell you.
Oh, well, you're in coping.
And the ironic thing is that we're beaming this live right now onto Facebook pages and Facebook groups.
Assuming it's working.
We'll see how long that lasts, shan't we? So that was a not positive start to the week, and then it picked up again, and we went for a fabulous Japanese meal last night, which I felt so sorry for them. That we were trying to get a sit-in meal, and I wanted to go to the place where they do the hibachi grill. Is it where the chefs do the food in front of you?
Oh, okay.
But I suddenly realised that the place who does that aren't taking evening bookings, because obviously, in fact, they're not taking any eat-in bookings at all, because obviously they can't have the chefs too close to the customers, which is a shame. So we went somewhere else. We went to a place I can't pronounce, begins with M, in Brighton, up by Seven Dials.
Oh, okay.
Mamuki or something? Mamoki? Anyway, I can't pronounce it. But yeah. There was the food was fantastic. The company was amazing. Phoebe and Nelson were great fun, but there was nobody else in the restaurant. And of course, we all had to be out by 10 o'clock, so we went early. And there was nobody. They can't take bookings sort of later than 8 because you need
they wouldn't be able to guarantee you
get the food and gone. Yeah, exactly. So that was a bit weird, very weird, in fact. And but then
try to eat enough food between you to make up for the empty restaurant.
We don't have any challenge with eating lots of Japanese food at all. My kids love it. I love it. It was great.
So the restaurant did all right.
Yeah, they did all right out of us. And very cute young man serving us. So Phoebe's quite thinking she might just ring up tomorrow and say hello. So watch out for that. And what else happened? Oh, today has been an amazing day. I had my 8 o'clock call for my clients down under. Mm-hmm. And then on my second call at 11 o'clock for the UK-based clients, Roger Woodall, who's one of my mentoring students, came on. He's the one who started Bournemouth Sevens.
Oh, yeah.
Which
we were talking about him the other day.
Music festival and sports festival. And he's obviously, he said it. In fact, it was 6 months to the day today that he got the phone call to say the festival wouldn't be going ahead for this year. And in that 6 months, he has completely pivoted his business, because the festival will be back next year, hopefully. Mm-hmm. But he's completely set up, with my guidance, a brand new podcast which launches today. His first guests are among them are Barry Hearn. Mm-hmm. Who's very big in boxing promoting, apparently. And he's getting hundreds of complimentary comments on his LinkedIn timeline about everything. He's launched with 3 episodes, and I'm pretty sure it's going to go straight to the top of the charts in YouTube, because he's going through his entire phone book of celebs and people he's ever worked with, and one by one personal messaging them with links to the podcast, telling them what it's about. And he's been doing that since 6 o'clock yesterday evening, apparently. But that's the way to really build your listenership on a podcast really quick, early. Didn't even occur to me to do that for ours. But
personal invites to everyone you know.
Basically. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm pretty sure you can do it in one hit in your inbox, but your contacts, but I'm not sure how to do it. But the point is, he's taking the time to do it, and that just actually sums him up as a person. He's also launched his brand new website at rogerwoodall.com, so you go and check that out afterwards. And his first episode of his podcast is so nice because it's very personal. It's the first part of his story growing up in the East End of London above a pub with his mum and dad, and they were real workaholics by the sound of it. They had a parrot and a monkey as pets.
I thought you were going to say his staff then for a second.
So he's got, honestly, I literally did laugh and cry when I was listening to this podcast, because it really was very personal, very warm, very, made you gasp with surprise at the things he said. And I think it's going to be an absolute monster hit. So I'm really excited to be part of that. And as part of his website launch, he's also created an accredited, did I tell you this about events organising?
Yeah.
He's created a course about events organising. Yeah. And that's not ready yet, but it'll be ready in November, I think. So go and check it out if you're at all interested in events organising of any kind. It's not just music festivals. He's had lots and lots of different experience in events.
That's cool. I
So
quite
that's
often have
lovely to be.
interns helping me with my conference each year. And generally about half
Uh-huh.
an hour afterwards go, well, I really enjoyed being involved in event organising. I might consider that as a career from now on.
Yeah, I think his is going to be the first accredited course in the country because he's doing it all properly. So that'll be really great. And he's got, I mean, the guest lecturers alone are going to be absolutely outstanding. He's interviewing the guy from Boardmasters, so the podcast is a marketing tool for the website, and the website is a marketing tool for everything else he's doing, like writing a book, creating a course. It's just awesome. I told him about Restream today, and I'm sure by next week he'll be going live on every platform available. Yeah, it's such a joy to work with someone who doesn't have any fear, and that's what Roger's like. He just doesn't have any fear at all. So
that's cool. Whereas I have to psych myself up for recording myself because I'm a perfectionist. I put off doing a podcast for years because I didn't want evidence of what I was saying. And if I made a mistake, bad fact or something, I'd be mortified.
So what changed then?
What changed? I think you just have to keep doing more of them.
Okay.
Yeah, because I've been interviewed on a fair few now.
Oh, okay. So that's given you the confidence to do your own.
Yeah, and I still put off recording my own videos. I find it much easier to chat to someone.
Yeah, well, that's why we're doing it like
you
this.
expect some mistakes, don't you? But
yeah, and also, if you go live, people cut you a lot of slack because they're sitting there thinking, "Oh my God, they're so brave! I couldn't do that."
That's you two out there. We're speaking to you. Give us some slack.
Oh yes, two people watching. Now, the other cool thing about this that I realised after we stopped playing yesterday is that if someone makes a comment, then I can actually highlight it and put it on the screen. So I think if anyone, aren't you watching? Aren't you one of those two people watching?
Yeah, I probably am.
Yeah, so send us a message. Send us a message, then I can play with the tool. In fact, I'm going to take these out because I don't like it. I hate it. I can hear myself talking in my head and I don't like it.
That should. There you go.
Oh, cut some slang. Show.
Oh, that's cool. That's great.
Oh, now I can't hear you. What's happened there?
What?
Oh, hang on. Back we go.
So apparently my comment came just in time.
I'm going to put one in. Everyone. There we go. That's better. I can hear you and not feel like I'm talking in my head. There you go. So Pete Jenkins says, cut us some slack. Yeah. That's really cool.
Perfect timing for what just happened with your headset.
Yeah, exactly. Cool. Okay, so the other thing I've got to report, I thought you wouldn't be happy unless I gave you a UFO update.
Wouldn't I?
No, you wouldn't. No,
because financial objective.
Yes, exactly. But no, the new thing in the UFO community is all these doorbells. You know, the doorbells with cameras.
Yes.
So they're capturing a lot of UFOs apparently and aliens.
Very small ones flying down the street.
No, no, there's one. If you go to my favorite UFO channel, which is Third Phase of Moon on YouTube, and look for the episode dated the 18th of September, then you will see that a doorbell camera has captured a UFO taking off from an area in California and then doing a sonic boom in the sky and setting off all the car alarms. But there are also other door cam videos of aliens scuttling around people's cars at nights. Actual aliens, not just UFOs.
You're sure it's not just kids dressed as aliens?
No, they're really quite spooky, these things. They're really, like the grey men aliens. There's different kinds of aliens, by the way. I don't know if you know that. But the grey men aliens are really quite creepy. Especially the ones that have been captured on door cams.
See, I feel like I could go out there and pretend to be an alien. I mean, what did I buy today? I bought some light up balloons. Hang on, wait.
What's that for then?
For a friend's birthday.
Oh, okay.
but they'll glow in the dark. There's a little LED inside them.
Oh, nice.
And I could wear one on each ear, I guess, and then go and jump on people's cars. And what would a doorbell cam pick up at night would be something very strange, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but you'd have to wear like a grey silky jumpsuit.
Yeah, like you can get those onesie things for like a green screen, but you wear it, don't you?
Yes. Oh, that's good. I look forward to the video. So,
do you have a doorbell cam? I'm just trying to work out where I should do this.
I don't have a doorbell cam because our internet's not strong enough to reach downstairs. Otherwise, we would have.
Thought about a piece of string and a couple of cups.
Yeah, that might work. It's our doorbell. Don't even get started on the doorbell situation. I love this flat. I really do. It's big, it's light, it's a fantastic location. But there are two things about it. Well, there's two or three things about it that we would change if we could, put it that way. And the doorbell situation is one of them. But in the meantime, we'll carry on. Now, let's get rid of your comment. How do I get rid of that?
Okay, that's exactly what I was just thinking.
Yes, how do I get rid of that? Oh, hang on. No, I don't know how to get rid of it. That's not good, is it?
Right click on it, something like that.
No, it just doesn't work. Okay. I know, this is terrible, isn't it?
A new one. I'll put something.
Yes, put something nice. Say welcome everybody. Do let us know you're here.
Okay, I'll do that.
We're going out loud. Sorry, we're going out live on my private profile. We should at least get some comments from there. There we go.
Well done, you've replaced it.
Yes,
can you get rid of that one?
Yeah, that's good. Right. Okay. So let's talk about our topic of the week then, which is coffee, brain picking, and free to fee. Which is, and I'm sure you must get this a lot because you go networking a lot, and this is where this typically happens: is when people say, "Are you free?" Oh, I live near Shoreham. Are you free for a coffee or a drink sometime? I'd love to pick your brains.
Ah, okay.
And I bet you get it a lot. So let's talk about that topic first.
Okay, so we're starting with that one. Well, I used to get it a lot more before lockdown.
Well, of course, that has been a boon for introverts.
Do you know what, actually? I still say yes to those because I get those requests. And what I love about virtual working is that I just allocate a 20-minute video call to people.
Yes.
Yeah, and then it automatically ends.
Yes.
Whereas if you meet someone in person, you've got potentially, it could go like an hour and a half sometimes when you get someone chatting about their project.
And then you've got the travel time as well.
Yeah. Well, no, I always used to make them come to me anyway.
All right.
I was quite good at that.
Yeah.
But by the time you've faffed around, chosen a coffee, done some gentle introductions, then get into the project, and then they chat about it more. It could be an hour and a half.
I know.
But 20 minutes online, you can get to the nub of it, and if it's going really well and it's really interesting, then of course you can extend it. But generally, it falls to a natural end if it doesn't. I've found I've been able to have like 3 times as many meetings without feeling utterly pressured by too much coffee and things like that.
Yeah. And do you find that the kind of people who ask you for a coffee and brain pickings are potential clients, or are they largely people wanting to find things out for free?
Ooh, I'd say it's about 50-50. My most recent client who signed up last week for a consulting project, that was a coffee and brain picking, but maybe a year ago.
Wow.
So it takes its time to come around.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're working remotely because he's in Tenerife now. So he's not even in the same location anymore, but we had a physical coffee to begin with.
Yeah. Talking of which, we've got Claude, who used to be a member of eAcademy. And were you a member of eAcademy as well?
I was one of the early adopters of eAcademy.
Early adopters, yeah. Well, Claude's, I think you're overseas now, Claude, aren't you? Aren't you on a beautiful Caribbean beach somewhere? So do let us know in the comments. And nice that you're watching us. So I used to have a real aversion to coffee and brain picking, mainly because of the travel time and the fact that I never knew what people really wanted. So it was always felt very awkward at the beginning. And then 99% of people didn't turn into clients. It was really just to get my advice about their project. And what I used to find was that people who did that, then I used to pour my heart, soul and energy into the time, and then they would go away and never take any action. Claude's in the Seychelles, by the way, which is very nice.
You know what? The main reason I don't like giving free advice is because people don't follow it.
They don't, no.
If they paid for it, they're more likely to do it.
Yes, that's very true.
And that's less frustrating all round, isn't it? So.
It is. So it got easier once I developed a range of sort of lower price products like a book and things, because I was able to direct them. I'm able to direct people to my book. I'm able to give them a copy of the book if I really think that they need to. Particularly the money gym. I did find it was a lot more difficult with the money gym than now. Digital marketing. People tend to be more professional who ask for. Oh, Claude says he's always done what I've advised. Bless him. Can you see the chat?
As well as selling us the islands of the Seychelles.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks.
I'm going to put that up there. Have I been to this? No, I've never been to the Seychelles, but I would really, really like to. Is that the one with that gorgeous hotel that goes out into the sea, where it's all got little hotel rooms where you can just dip your feet in the water and go swimming from your room?
I've no idea, but there's a few places like that.
Yeah.
I'd like to go to all of them. Yeah.
Yes, and especially today. It's very grim in the UK today, Claude. I
might have got caught in the rain earlier.
Yeah. Yes, did you? Oh, it really did rain earlier as well. And so I find that having a report to give people or direct people to, and then a follow-up email series, all of that makes you much more generous. It makes you feel and look much more generous without having to give so much of your time, which is, after all, the most precious resource.
So I've got a friend who, if you want a call with her, you have to fill in basically a questionnaire first, and based on your answers, to decide whether or not you're ready for her and her advice. I
did that for a while. Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Well, it does work, doesn't it? It also says you know what you're doing, you know what you're after. It's filtering out a lot of the people who are maybe time wasters, or it's too early. I think that's
yes. Yeah, I think that's a kinder way to put it. It's not that people ever want to waste your time. It's the fact that perhaps they feel that they want to get information, which is only fair enough. And that's how we learn, isn't it, Pete? By talking to people and then poking it. But
which is why I tend to say yes to chats, just because I'm going to learn something out of it anyway, probably.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's not just, for me, it's not just a selling thing. I learn about some of the more interesting projects that are out there from the random chats. I'm like, how on earth did I not know this existed near me? That sort of thing.
Yeah. And also you've got the thing that you're learning about your customers, aren't you? So I'm just putting up Claude's latest useful comment. You don't get a small fraction of time for free. You can miss out on some big fees. Well, absolutely right. You just never know, do you? You don't know what the budget is before you get talking to people.
but sometimes people need to dabble and get a feel for working with you, don't they, or chatting to you? How are you gonna relate? And sometimes that's what that first little brain picking chat can be about. The risk, of course, for something like what I do is quite often the best gamification idea I come up with is in that first chat, because it's fresh, and it gives you that first impression of their project, and you go, thinking outside the box, you could do this, and then you're like, I've just given away the gold there.
The nugget. You've given the nugget away. But you have to trust in karma. You have to believe that something bigger is going to swing around again. Or if not from that person, then that they'll be able to more freely recommend you, of course.
Yeah, well, and also there's always more ideas, and there's always how you implement it as well. So there's room. But there's quite a few people out there, particularly in something fun like gamification, who want to go and give it a try. So they will then go and try it on their own without needing you to begin with. And unfortunately, then what happens is they might call you in when a few mistakes have been made. Something.
Yes, because everyone always underestimates how difficult things are. Yeah. So let's move on then from free to fee. So how do you do it currently? And I mean, you've told us a little bit about it, but how does the typical ideal customer move through your marketing funnel?
Oh, that's interesting. My ideal customer funnel is actually I get paid to speak at a conference and spread the word and show my expertise. That should then lead to some training engagements or workshops paid for, which should then lead to some consulting projects to help people implement what they want to come up with. So in the ideal world, it's pay to pay rather than free first. Yeah. I do, however, occasionally do the odd free thing. Maybe it's a new industry sector that I haven't got any track record in, so I want to speak to them. Or it's a new location in the world geographically, although quite often I'll just do a reduced fee for that sort of thing rather than no fee. Or for instance, if it's a much lower, if the fees they pay are much lower there than they would be here, things like that. I'll look at flexibility if it's somewhere new or a new market.
Yeah.
What about you?
Well, I'm moving away from the done for you aspect of things now. So as I'm moving much more into the consultancy mentoring side of things, the done for you side is always really tempting because you know that you can do a really good job and the client doesn't want to do it themselves, really. A bigger client certainly doesn't. In someone like Roger's case, he's perfect for consultancy and mentoring because he's got a team that can implement for him. So he could just concentrate on being the talent. And that is the problem a lot of the time, that the kind of people who are attracted to the prospect of being leveraged across lots of social media platforms are star creator profiles. And the star creator profiles are much more likely to be able to do the tech themselves, because they then, in Roger Hamilton's wealth dynamics terms, they sit next to the mechanic. So it's I'm trying to do it the right way now. So it's mechanic over there, creator there, and star there. So anyone around that top section is going to be very drawn to what we're doing here as a means of promoting their business, but they're not probably so good at the tech. Whereas if you've got a team of people in a bigger organization, you'll have a webmaster, you'll have a marketing manager to organize everything, you'll have a social media manager to disseminate the content once it's been created. But I tended to work more with private individuals who are absolute experts at what they do, but certainly don't have a team around them. So, and they're also tinkerers a lot of the time. So they like to tinker. Even I've got one client who I set up the whole business for her. She's a Huna expert, a forgiveness, Hawaiian healing expert.
Okay.
And even she likes to tinker with the tech. So you think she'd be all, ethereal and wafting about covered in lays and things, but no, she likes a good old rummage around the back of her WordPress website. And you know who I'm talking to, don't you, if you're watching? So so that's been a challenge for me. So that's why I started offering the done for you services, because I've got a team of people that are just so used to doing it for me that it's really easy for them to do it for other people. But the problem comes then with the client being the bottleneck and not producing the content. So,
and then that could lead to unhappiness. So
it does, yeah.
How do you do it? Do you bully them? Do you chase them?
Well, I try and encourage them to have weekly mentoring calls, turning up, on a group call. And actually that's wonderful because my two clients that are on there today, one of whom has got a very swiftly building YouTube channel in a very particular niche, and she was on with Roger and he was telling us all about his launch of his website and his website, and he was so excited about it all that he really enthused her as well, and that was great. So there's a lot of cross-pollination. Clients often want private consultations, but I try, and even if they pay for client consultations on a one-to-one basis, I do try to encourage them to call into the group calls as well, because they get a sense of community as well. And as well, you've got something like that.
I'm a big fan of it. I mean, clients want that personalized approach, but they get so much by attending a group call.
That's right.
A group experience, which is how we met. Is that group dynamic, learning from each other.
That was in a real life situation, though. I don't know what I was doing in that room, that's for sure. I must have been desperate for some company or something. No offense, Pete.
I wasn't the only one.
No. Oh, I love my own jokes. Oh dear. So yes, we all sat around that room. That was awkward, wasn't it? Looking back on it, but it was great. I mean, there was Debbie, who runs wellness for women over in Worthing. She's a very dynamic character, wasn't she?
Yeah, so it was a really good mix of people.
Yeah, that was Worthing Chamber, peer-to-peer mentoring.
Yeah, and I'd done similar before as well, which was ProfitNet, which was the University of Brighton academic approach to it, but the same format. In fact, our facilitator was one of their facilitators. There you go.
Yeah. Now we've had some more comments. Oh, Claude's still commenting here. That's great. Yep. Tinkerers, yes. Perhaps we should have called it the Tinkerers Show rather than Poke It.
Yeah, I like Claude's comment about Robert Kiyosaki saying he earns a lot more money by working for free because he works to learn rather than to earn.
Oh yeah, Robert Kiyosaki's great. Have you watched any of his YouTube podcasts?
Oh, one or two.
Oh, his show's fantastic. He's still got the passion for it after all these years.
I was going to say, I read a book recently called Company of One, which I thought took this approach quite well. It was more about how to be small and not need that team particularly. Yeah. And then, but how to get good at it in the first place was to work for free and get loads of experience and find out exactly what people want. Yeah. And very soon you end up earning and doing well out of it.
Yeah. My son's just come up with a new business idea that he wants to, I won't say what it is online, but I said he knows someone who's doing it very successfully. So I said, well, the best thing to do is to go and work for them for free to find out how they do it. Yeah. Yeah. Didn't he go to become a Robert Kiyosaki? Didn't he go to become a photocopier salesman just so he could get the sales training? I think he did.
I didn't know that. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, 20 years ago, I got sales training in financial services. And actually, I learned a lot about, I learned mostly about how to sell fear.
Oh, no, that's not good. We don't want to do that.
Well, no, don't do that. But it was really interesting watching the process, how people draw things and draw you in, and then change the scenario and shock you into going, oh my God, I need 5 different policies for this, this, and this.
Yeah. Yeah.
It made me laugh because they would recommend you would practice on your family and friends. And I remember saying to my sister, right, I'm just practicing on you. This is the thing. And I took her through it. And at the end, she was like, well, I insist on buying these 4 policies.
Yeah, I'm a sucker for an insurance person. I mean, we had one who lovely chap who came to our poker games on a Monday night, and he could sell me anything. It was really hilarious. Now we've got some other viewers. Now we've got Claire Hanbury-Lowe, who runs a fantastic charity that helps to children in Africa to help themselves help their families. You know, they teach the children things like basic nutrition and health. Claire will tell me if I'm telling it wrong, and then they disseminate the information amongst their families and villages, which is really very cool. And Claire actually was one of my oldest clients who wrote an ebook and put it up online and promptly forgot about it, didn't you, Claire? And then came back to find out that it really was selling quite well and had accumulated quite a decent sum of money for an ebook. So that was a bit of a success. She told me recently about that. And then Nikki Duffy's also on the line with us, and she's a Robert Kiyosaki fan as well. So Nikki is a consultant she does a lot of access bars healing. And she's got an amazing backstory herself. I interviewed her for my Resilience podcast. So I highly recommend people go and check that out. I only do that one occasionally. I only do that one when I come across someone with a fantastic story of overcoming difficulty or hardship.
I think about healing. The other thing that happened to me this week is my sister did a reflexology session on me. She's in the middle of, coming towards the end of training as a reflexologist. And
is that feet?
It is, well, feet or hands. She's particularly doing the feet at the moment.
Gosh, she's a woman with strong stomach, isn't she? Not your feet particularly, Pete, obviously not, but being confronted with lots of feet, that must be very testing, shall we say.
I think it's one of those things you get used to it, don't you? It's like when you first have kids and you think, I'm never going to be able to change a nappy, and then within a week you're doing 7 a day, whatever.
Don't even bat an eyelid when they, yes.
All I'll say is every time she's done a couple of sessions now, and every time I get an amazing night's sleep afterwards. So I can recommend.
Oh, okay. There's something in it. It relaxes you nicely. You remind me of yet another failed investment in my children's business ideas. We were having a bit of a tot-up last night. Was it last night? I can't remember. Anyway, Nelson's come up with a few in the past because he now wants me to invest into this next venture.
Ah, yes.
And I've said, well, I'm not investing, but I'll give you an interest-free loan. And that's because I reminded him of all the other failed investments that I've never seen a return on. In fact, never seen my capital back, let alone a return on. And then you've just reminded me that I invested in Phoebe's, when she was studying as a beautician, I invested in a very deluxe waxing kit on the premise that I would never have to pay any more waxing fees ever again at a beauty salon. Of course, she took one look at people's feet, decided she didn't want to be a beautician anymore. I've never been, I think she did it once. No, she wasn't keen on that idea either. So, so that was 800 quid down the Swanee. Not cheap, these waxing kits, I tell you.
Not cheap, these children, I thought you were going to say.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
I'm thinking about that. I'm pretty sure my dad invested $3,000 in one of my business ideas once, and it turned into a useful tax loss eventually for me, but that was it, really.
Oh dear, poor dad.
That was my first Facebook app, actually, in the very early days.
What? So you built it, or you bought it, or what did you do?
Designed it, and a friend built it. It was called Feed My Guests, and it was oh god, when was it? Like 16, 17 years ago. And the idea was for people with allergies, how to get invited to dinner by your friends more. So everyone could go on, they could list what they're allergic to, or even just intolerant of, or even just don't like, and then the system would go, right, what. You could click a button and it would generate a recipe for all the people you've invited. So if I ticked like 6 people, you know, a maximum at the moment, then it would find a recipe that would be suitable for all of them.
Wow, that's ambitious.
It was, wasn't it? It did. It worked technically, but we never got the user friendliness of it right. And back then, it seemed like only one person in each couple was on Facebook, and you needed both because you needed the data from everyone.
Right. So
it sort of died a death for a while, but it was a lot of fun. We had an amazing launch party for it.
Well, it probably took most of the £3,000 investment, didn't it?
No, actually, because I managed to get sponsors. So like local food businesses and wine providers, they all brought stuff. So I think I only paid for venue hire.
Yeah. In the early days, only women were on Facebook, weren't they? It was the men used to look over their shoulder to see the pictures and things like that. It wasn't really done, was it? It
wasn't the done thing, but I still think it was a great idea because it was about democratizing, getting people around, invited to dinner. Because even now, you know, I've got a niece with a celiac and a dairy intolerance. And I think, what should I feed them? And then there'll be someone with nuts. And
yeah.
In my family, 1/3 of them have got celiac. So.
Really? Wow, yeah. That's a high proportion. Must be genetic then.
I've got the gene. In fact, I've got the double gene, which means
you can test for it.
Yeah, there's a test for it. So I've got the double gene, which means both parents basically gave it to you. And it's just not triggered in me yet, which I can only assume is due to vast quantities of red wine keeping it at bay.
Yes. Talking of which, I made another naked order yesterday. That was good fun. I've accumulated enough credits to be offered a magnum of something for free, or 2 normal bottles. So, yes, I chose some red. It's a shame we don't. I do miss our poker and wine evenings that we used to have.
I'm sorry.
Have you played any more poker since?
No, I've not. And Wednesday nights, which it was, has become my late night meetings with people in different time zones. Work night.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So at least you're making some money, even if you're not having a great time. So have we covered the free to fee thing adequately?
Well, I don't think we've said whether we think it's a good idea. I mean, I'm a fan of it most of the time, but when you get really busy, it can feel a bit soul destroying, I think, sometimes. So when people take your free ideas and go elsewhere. But to be honest, I've been running my business 20 years, so that as long as you don't have too much at any one time, I think it's fine. Yeah,
and I think it's nice to feel abundant and generous, isn't it, in business? And that's why I like to give away. That's why I like to give away stuff that people can consume in their own time, rather than me having to be there.
Actually, I mean, that's a good point. My biggest issue is I've got free stuff, and then I go straight to really expensive stuff.
Yes.
an in-between bit. That's on
Well,
the list.
what's your course that you're doing at the moment? Isn't that an in-between between consultancy and implementation? And the course surely is.
Well, except that I'm distracted and I'm building an amazing course for my university students at the moment. So I need to create a commercial version.
Yeah, but it'll be easier after you've done it for the university students. Yeah,
definitely.
There's always more to do, isn't there? We never seem to catch up on our to-do lists. Being creative.
Mine's been getting longer for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. Claude says there'll always be rat bags, but karma catches up with them in the end. Oh, we're not.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it's true. I totally do as well. Well, Mark
What's quite funny when you've been networking in one area, a geographical area for a long time, like I have, because I've been a member of our local Chamber of Commerce for 20 years this year.
Yeah.
Is that word gets around about people who are rat bags.
Yes.
You'll be chatting to someone at an event and you'll go, oh, there was someone who paid late in this industry, and the other person will go, was it such and such? And you go, oh yeah, it was.
Oh, so word gets around about late payers and all sorts.
Yeah, all sorts of things, or just a bit of a pain to work with, or whatever it might be.
Yeah, right. And I'm going to say, in my industry, is so we're also spread out around globally, but we all do hang out in quite small, intimate groups on Facebook, particularly, and so we all do know when people are misbehaving, which is you think would put people off, but people still do it. The quick buck, I suppose, must be too tempting for some.
Well, I think some people, it's just their way of doing it, isn't it? So there was a fast-growing, I'm going to call it a beauty salon, but it was more like aesthetics and collagen implants and things like that.
Yeah.
Who was renowned for being rubbish as a supplier, as a customer of suppliers, but was really good with their customers. Yeah, right. So they kept growing fast. So in some respects, they were, the sort of company you would want to have as a customer because they were growing fast. But yes, at the same time, trying to take too much, offering a tiny amount and wanting the world for it.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, in fact, I've just sent a little present out to one of my suppliers because I value her so much, and I haven't been able to give her as much business through lockdown as I would have liked. But I really appreciate her, and she's always there, and she's never let me down. And so I just sent her a little something today to. She said it was so funny. She came onto Slack and said, I was just about to send it back because I thought it was a mistake. And then I saw your note and I thought, oh, that was so sweet. She's so honest. Brilliant. So it's lovely to be able to help people, especially when they're giving you a good service. I think it's really important. I think one of the nice things about running your own business as well is picking people who behave nicely and choosing to work with them and pass business their way. Yes. Yeah. Well, as we're going live on about 15 platforms, Claude, I'm not about to mention any of the names you just said in public. And actually, the person I'm thinking of isn't one of those, but I'm not going to say her name in public either. Oh, but that's narrowed the field. Narrows it down by 50%, doesn't it? Just about 50-ish%. We won't go down that road either. So, Pete, what are you most looking forward to this week? In the coming week, gosh, so much stuff that I don't even know where to begin. Hang on, let me think. I've done a deal with someone to help me really take my gamification awards part of my business up a notch. So we've got about 5 sessions planned over the next week and a half to really fine tune all the processes and what's happening with that. At the same time, I've got quite a lot of activity with people who are interested in running country-based awards within our global awards. This is brilliant, isn't it? You were just about to give up on it, and just because it was so much work for one person, and now you've got all these people wanting to help. Yeah, and there was one company that offered to buy the whole thing, and funnily enough, I've just discovered they got their C-bills loan today, and it was a very big one. What's that? The business interruption loan. Oh, okay. Yes. So there's still a potential route, but it's quite exciting, and I've got a brilliant sponsor potentially that I hope should sign on Tuesday. Oh, that's awesome! 4 categories of awards, which and once you've got a really nice name sponsor, it's easy, so much easier. Much easier. Yes. I remember I did an event in London when we launched our record label, and I knew that if you spoke to all the marketing departments of the big companies, you'd probably get some free stuff. And because we had it was a Russian record producer, Ed the Red. If Ed might even be watching, actually, he lives in America, and Ed the Red, he is Russian extraction. So I went straight to Smirnoff and got a massive amount of free vodka for our launch party. And then I went, once you got Smirnoff on board, it was like a dominoes. Everybody was happy to pile in with free stuff. It was one of the best launch parties I've ever been to. And then there was another one time where it was a 1950s cafe launching in Gray's Antiques in London. So I went straight to Babycham, and they not only sent over several cases of Babycham, lots of cases, but they sent over 500 of those old-fashioned Babycham glasses.
Oh, very nice.
Drink them out of the proper glasses. Again, another fantastic event. Oh, I got Vidal Sassoon doing the hair on that one as well, because we had a fashion show. So Vidal Sassoon offered to do the hair, and someone else led.
It's always worth asking, isn't it? I did a meetup, and a friend of mine was a shareholder in a brewery, and he just said, look, get in touch with them, they might sponsor it. And so I just name checked him, and they sent down a few crates of beer. And I was like, that's brilliant.
Yeah, the people to talk to if you're interested in this is PR companies are always really open to talking about this, and also marketing departments of big corporations. So I think I went to Diego, and there's a book. Is it the White Book where you can find most of all PR companies online?
I have heard of that, so I'm going to say yes.
Yeah, and basically you can actually buy the book, or you can go to your local library and get an old copy of the book for free, and you can go through that and find by category, so by category of goods. So I was interested in alcohol, and so I went to, and I was looking for people who, you've just got to find that hook, like the Russian connection with Smirnoff, or and I think we had, I can't remember, I think we were mixing it with K cider because people thought that was a mixer, but that wasn't a good result for some people.
I remember getting a crate of that for my 18th birthday. 18 bottles of K.
Oh, bless. So yes, I think, if you can come up with a hook, a marketing hook for the people, they're much more likely to be able to say yes and justify it.
There needs to be a reason why they should be involved and why they can support it. What are they going to get out of it? In terms of publicity, potential new customers. Yeah. I got the beer because I said where the venue was, and there was a bunch of pubs nearby that didn't sell their beer yet.
Oh, okay.
And they were like, yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can say that you're going to put them on the pull-ups if it's a business thing. You can put them on the website, the logos on the website. I think we were painting a mural on the wall of the cafe, and we painted in a massive Babycham glass with the Babycham deer jumping out of it. So they weren't just getting exposure for the night; they were actually getting exposure to everybody who went in the cafe thereafter. So they were very happy with that, and I think it featured in the Evening Standard as well. So you can get spin-off press and publicity from the actual sponsorship deals as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They build upon each other.
Sometimes you forget all the things you've done, don't you? It's really weird, and it just takes one little mention to make you remember. God, that was a good job. That was my last ever real job, working for Benny Gray at Gray's Antiques and the Space Organisation. He was an amazing person. Yeah, good guy.
Oh, I struggled to remember my last real job.
Well, I was going to put you on the spot and ask you. Do you remember any mentors in your working life that helped enormously? That's a topic for next week. We'll or the week after it. Next time it's my go, we'll talk about the mentors that have helped you through your entrepreneurial journey. That's cool. I like that. Also, I might do the anti side as well, because some of mine were people I was like, I'll never do it like that. Oh, okay. Yeah, anti-mentors. Anti-mentors. Good stuff. All right. That's great. Well, I think we've come to the top of the time. So we'll say goodbye to Claude and to Nikki and to Claire. And thank you all for joining us. And we'll see you same time next week, 1:30 on a Thursday. Fantastic. Been fun, Nicola. See you later. Bye. Bye.